Whose happiness are you prioritizing in your life? Your family's or your own? Do you think that you and your family have the same definition of happiness? When I was a little kid, I was taught by my family that stability is the key to happiness. In order to achieve that state of stability, I am expected to always follow this linear procedure of the following milestones. Firstly, always perform well academically. Second, get into a good university and graduate on time. Third, earn a secure job with a lucrative income and begin saving up. Fourth, get married, have kids, and build a happy family. Fifth, raise my child to become successful individuals. And lastly, retire and live happily ever after. Well, it does seem straightforward and a one-size-fits-all formula, doesn't it? Throughout my childhood, I have been a hardworking and obedient student who always focused on academic performance and aimed for high excellence results, such as getting admitted into a prestigious high school and university. As the very first male child in my family, with the privilege to attend tertiary education, and the ones who received so much love and support from all of my family members, my top priority was to always strictly follow that linear pathway to live up to that stability value and make my family proud of me, so that I could be happy as a result. However, there was a significant turning point during my sophomore year, during which I felt totally empty and useless with what I was studying with my major at university. I couldn't stay focused at all as I did before, and had trouble memorizing key information and theory for the final exams, which adversely impaired my academic performance and resulted in lower grade point average compared to my former academic years. And with such negative results, I was bitterly disappointed in myself. And at the same time, I felt ashamed that my parents might know about that issue as well. After several unsuccessful attempts just to make myself feel all right, I thought of taking a gap year, which was an absolutely unfamiliar concept for my parents at that time. But thinking of that decision also made me stressed and scared of letting my family down one more time, because I was going to break the stability streak that I have successfully maintained for over the past 19 years. I was overthinking, what if an image of a high-achieving and obedient student that I have built for 19 years with all of my family members, my teachers, my friends, my relatives, my neighbors, friends of my family, were demolished with that decision. And after many moments of contemplation, I ended up asking myself, whose life I am living? That moment, my inner voice won. And I did realize that I couldn't make my family happy in a sustainable way if I'm not happy with myself first and feeling like what I do matters. And from then on, my top priority is no longer strictly following that linear pathway to please my family, but to also appreciate my individuality and acknowledge that to pursue my own happiness and life purpose. That was how I came to redefine my own key, my new key to happiness. And after arriving at this philosophy, I was self-confident enough to face my parents. I chose dialogues to approach the situation. I sat down, I calmly talked to them, explained to them how I was generally feeling, and shared with them my plan of what part-time job I would be doing and what volunteer program I would join to make sure that they fully understood that I would be responsible for my home decision. And luckily, they accepted and mentally supported me during that self-desired adventure of finding myself. In reality, I took gap years twice, and it took me nearly 6 years to complete my first ever bachelor's degree, while my peers have been rapidly moving up the corporate ladders. After graduation, I applied for a not-for-profit social enterprise to chase my wildest dreams. It is obvious that I didn't have a linear pathway at all, as my family expected. But the most important thing is, I found happiness in my own life choices. I have faith that I could both sustain my life and create values and impacts in our community with my own strength and passion. I firmly believe that I would still go further in my own path, as long as I live up to my philosophy and work hard with resilience and efforts. As I believe in the role of education in eradicating intergenerational cycles of poverty and disadvantage, uplifting lives, and fostering human development, my wildest dream is to become a global education activist who champion inclusivity in education with an endeavor to erase all barriers to accessible, inclusive, equitable, and excellent quality education result for every kid, irrespective of their background or any social identifiers. In order to fulfill this dream, I have been taking firm baby steps since I was a freshman in university to explore my strengths and weaknesses, to gain first-hand experiences, and to challenge my will in educating campaigns to bring soft-skill class projects to different rural primary schools. Until now, I have been living and working as an extracurricular English teacher in a rural, high-needs lower secondary school in Western District, Vietnam Province, Central Vietnam, to further actualize the shared vision that all children in Vietnam will attend an excellent education. However, it's also not a straightforward journey at all. Reflecting on the teaching and learning experience over the past academic year, my students and I faced countless great challenges. But here are the following two stories that will always stay in my heart. This little slim boy with bright eyes and a great sense of curiosity is an active sixth grader in one of my classes. He doesn't have a digital device at home to prepare for district level Internet Olympiad English, which is formally known as IOE and annually organized by our Department of Education and Training for students nationwide. As his teacher, I am luckily well aware of his enthusiasm for English, as he is always the first in the class student to raise his hand to answer my questions inside the class. And he also didn't hesitate to say yes when I asked him if he wanted to join the competition. Therefore, I decided to drive to his house twice, let him borrow my laptop, and guided him to finish round 15 so that he can be qualified for the district competition. Even though his final score wasn't high enough for him to get any prize, when I asked him if he would like to learn from this year's experience and be better prepared for next year's IOE, one more time he said yes. And I was so proud of him. The main motivation that I wanted to support him was that I saw the 12-year-old version of me inside him. Yes, 13 years ago, I also didn't have a laptop to take part in IOE when I was in grade 7. The only way for me to join the competition was to go to the internet shop and pay 2,000 per hour for internet usage. I still remember how competitive and determined I was when I created up to 8 accounts to compete for the high standings in the national ranking after each new round. At that time, I was studying at a village school and didn't have much exposure to English at all. So the only English knowledge that I have accumulated was thanks to this competition. And I have to admit that the uniquely fresh experience of taking part in this online platform had triggered my passion for the English language and inspired me to specialize in English when I came to high school and tremendously improve my English proficiency at university level. Therefore, I strongly believe that the limited access to digital device should never deter potential students like him from opening the door to new possibilities for their future development. And here is the second story. Teacher Buddy, are you going to our class today? Hey, yes. Yay! That was how this little 6th grader with always smiley eyes and a bright smile on his face reacted when he knew that I was coming to his class. He is labeled by other teachers as disabled and labeled by his classmates as useless because he has trouble with cognitive skills. I haven't seen him this excited before in any other formal classes, where he was usually arranged to sit at the end of the class so that he wouldn't disturb other classmates with his distracting behaviors. However, in my class, I decided to give him my trust and more attention. I showed him my positive body language and facial expressions to show him my encouragement whenever he demonstrated a good behavior that supported his learning and gave a correct answer. Was really amazed his classmates normally thought he couldn't do it. With this approach, I saw him frequently raise hands to participate in game-based learning activities which involved quick movement and speed and competition. I was happy that he felt included in the learning activities and felt as a part of the class and the learning activity. His excitement for learning and progress has been one of the greatest sources of motivation for me to determinedly continue my life journey to further understand the education inequity and then the inclusion issue that still exists in our rural public education ecosystem, where teachers are usually incapable of catering to every student with different learning capacity and personalities, given the huge class size and limited resources. Furthermore, during my recent visit to his house, I discovered that his mother had left him when he was a very young age because of divorce, leaving him to stay with his dad and his paternal grandma. While his dad is always busy doing labor work to earn for a livelihood, his grandma is too old to take care of his studying, and even considering letting him drop out of school with the belief that If he keeps going to school, he will neither be able to learn anything, nor change his future. At that very moment, I tried to persuade his grandma to please let him finish at least lower secondary school level. I was reminded of the proverb. It takes a village to raise a child. And I firmly believe that the healthy school environment with happy students and teachers will play an indispensable role in his childhood and positive upbringing. But ladies and gentlemen, you don't necessarily need to become a teacher to have an impact in education. Every individual, especially everyone sitting here, could join hands to make our education ecosystem more inclusive and equitable for every student. Because you're already part of the ecosystem. You could be a parent, a relative, a neighbor, or a future potential educator. Creating a positive ripple effect in our community and society starts with ourselves. And by making small changes in our approach, actions, and behaviors, we can inspire others to replicate that positive ripple effect. And after all this, I feel satisfied because English doesn't prevent me from getting closer to my students, as evidenced by the fact that I still welcoming, actively be inside a class, and frequently asking me questions about my life. The little gifts that I received from my kids, such as candies, pictures, paintings, stickers, the nickname Resilient Teacher Buddy, or the direct messages sharing about the personal motivation to study English better would be the greatest motivation for me to reinforce my own philosophy of happiness, to continue believing in the meaning of my journey over here, and to keep supporting my students to the best of my ability. And ladies and gentlemen, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one. Thank you.